Greetings of peace and love, everybody. My name is Rob Hotep. I'm broadcasting on behalf of 13scienceastrology.com. I'm doing this video on a topic that is related to aliens and extraterrestrials. Now, before I get into this, I kind of want to point out something. I don't want to say this. And you guys know I say this all the time. The solution to your problems, your challenges, lies within you. You have all of the answers encoded within your DNA to all of your challenges and problems and obstacles. It's just a matter of whether or not you are going to dig deep enough within the self to find these problems and solutions, or to find answers to these problems and solutions. When you talk about government, economics, and money, these are all things that only exist because a group of people decide on them. The only reason why the dollar is accepted as a world currency is because a group of people agree to that or consent to that. The only reason why Barack Obama is president is because a group of people agreed to that. You see, so this is economics. This is government. These things would not exist without the consent of the people, because these things are not physical people. Government is not a physical person. Government is a system that is ran by citizens and physical people. This is what government is. And government, in its organic sense of why it was created, was meant to serve the people. That's why the people created it. Government was a system of checks and balances to make sure that things stayed in balance. This is why government was created. Now, what happened is that government became a machine and an entity in and of itself, and government began to rule over the people. Instead of serving the people, government began to rule over the people. And government is not a physical person. So the first question that will come to a person's mind is that how did government begin to rule over the people? Easy. Government began to rule over the people because the people that were put into positions of government became greedy. Greed. Greed comes from the lower chakra. Greed comes from the sacral chakra. It's a part of lust. And people that experience greed are lower vibrational beings. And the problem with government is that they don't have a spiritual criterion that one has to measure up to and meet in order to be a government official or president. There is no spiritual criterion. And this is the problem with government and with all systems that don't include a spiritual criterion. This is what's the problem with medicine. Medicine does not include a spiritual criterion. And it's no different with government. It's no different. So government, beloveds, began to rule over the people based upon some greedy people within government that eventually, over time, took themselves out of government and began to put puppets within the government. Began to put puppets within the government. Now, this has been going on for thousands of years, the story that I'm telling here. This is not a story just that took place in the United States of America or just in Europe or in England. This has been going on since the creation of government, the concept of it, the concept of governing. This has been going on since then. There's always been corrupt people since people have been vibrating on a lower chakra level. So government will never work, and systems of economics will never work until people become spiritual. Now, I bring all of this up for a reason. This video is about extraterrestrials that are promising people economic freedom, because these extraterrestrials are going to go into government and change the minds of these government officials in favor of the people. There is a particular program called NESARA, the National Economic Security It's the National Economic, I'm trying to remember the name of it. The National Economic Security, the name slips me right now. Give me a second, guys. The name slips me right now. The National Economic Security and Reformation Act, aka Nesara, Nesara. And this is a program that a lot of New Agers, so-called conspiracy theorists, and people like that, this is a program that a lot of people are propagating, and they're buying into this program because they feel that these particular people that are controlling the program and that put together the program, they're in tune with certain Pleiadians and certain ETs that are going to help them to take back control of the government so that we can get economic security again. This is what a lot of people are professing. And when you study it, the program itself, I looked into it. When you study the program itself, you'll see that it basically puts together a currency system that is totally backed by some form of a metal, like either gold or diamonds. But basically, the program promises debt-free money, or real money. Those of you that are seasoned in, the politics behind money know that the money that we call money right now is really fiat notes, or notes. A note is basically a debt. The money that we have, it has it on the money. It says note. It's a debt. And this new money that these people that are behind this Nesara program are promising will basically free up the people from all debt, because it will be a currency that is totally based by metals. And a lot of people are feeding into this. And I don't doubt that a group of extraterrestrials are behind the Nesara program, or the Nesara program. I don't doubt that. My thing is this: which group of extraterrestrials are behind this program? And I say this because of this. When you really study it, and you start talking about debt and money being backed by metals and basically people being freed up from debt, if these ETs were vibrating on such a high level, why wouldn't they put together a system or a program, or put together some type of software or something that they can put into the people that would help them to be able to create whatever it is that they want? Hence, you wouldn't need money or any type of means of exchange to get things, because all the things that you want, you can essentially create them. That's my question. Why wouldn't they have prescribed an idea or a plan like that? And I bring this up because this shows you the type of ETs that are behind this type of program. See, they're saying they're Pleiadians and all this type of stuff, but what kind of Pleiadians? See, people need to get educated on ETs. Pleiades is a star constellation that many type of ETs live in. So when they say they're the Pleiadians, they can be reptilian, they can be humanoid looking, they can be grays. Just because they're Pleiadians does not denote their race. What type of race are they, or their heritage? So the reptilians are probably still behind this economic program because it doesn't give you a freedom. It's still going to have you dependent on currency and dependent on metals and dependent on an outside source. So that means it's not spiritual. I opened up this video talking about spirituality for a reason. All of your problems, all the solutions to your problems are located within you. And a higher spiritual being would know this. So if these aliens really wanted to see us become free, light worker, I want you to think, light worker. If these aliens wanted to see us become free, wouldn't they teach us how to create totally on our own? Why would they want to enslave us into a new currency? We have the dollar already enslaved by that. The dollar started out being backed by something, but eventually somebody stole the gold and now it's backed by nothing. It's debt. It's not even money anymore. So what makes you think that this wouldn't happen again with these particular aliens? And to go further into it, I really believe that the reptilians are behind it. And I think what's going to really happen is that they're going to create the global currency through that particular program. They're going to create the very thing that these new agers and conspiracy theorists claim that they're running from. They're buying into the very thing that they claim they're running from, because this is going to be the global currency. This is going to be the global currency, and the ETs are behind it. Once full disclosure hits, and I just did a video talking about full disclosure, so you should watch my video if you don't know what full disclosure is. But once full disclosure hits and the ET's presence is made known and made public, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. They're going to introduce the new currency. People are going to fall victim to it. They're going to introduce it under the banner of freedom and under the banner of debt-free, being debt-free. But in reality, this currency will re-enslave them again to a global system, or really to a galactic system. You see, really to a galactic system. And a lot of this information I'm putting out here, people aren't really ready for, but there's conspiracies going on a galactic level, beloveds. On a galactic level, there's conspiracies going on. So the conspiracy thing doesn't really just stop at it doesn't really just stop at national or local and things like that. The conspiracy thing goes all the way to the universe. On a universal level, there are conspiracies going on within the multiverse. There's various conspiracies going on. There's various people acting like they're the guy, but they're really not. They're really just a puppet and a figurehead. And people haven't figured this thing out. And it doesn't stop here on planet Earth. It keeps going. It keeps going. And really, it's really just the beings that are here on Earth and that are on other third dimensional evolutionary planets that are really enslaved to this form of system of depending on outside factors. And if you're really evolved past the fourth dimension, any being that's on the fifth dimension and up, they figured out how to create and manifest for themselves. That's a fifth dimensional concept, to where they don't need a currency and they don't need outside factors for anything. They don't need outside factors for anything, because energy is all around you. And energy is what it takes to create anything. You can create anything from energy. The energy is literally all around us. So we just don't know these things yet. And a lot of beings are taking advantage of our ignorance and enslaving us off of our ignorance. So that's what's going on. I mean, no economic system, no matter if it's an alien that introduced it or not, can free you. And furthermore, you need to question these aliens, because again, they're still putting you into dependency on a currency that is outside of yourself, on an energy source that is outside of yourself, when you are capable as a being to power a whole city. Your being can power a whole city. The energy that flows through you to keep this going can power a whole city. The ancient Egyptians designed Wi-Fi, electrical energy, and lights that were activated based upon a person touching the light. Like when a person touched the light, the electricity that flows through a person would send energy to this light, and it would cause the light to illuminate. And these lights are what the ancient Egyptians used to see. The ancient Egyptians had lights. Now look it up and research it. This is true. And I bring this up because they knew that the human being was its own power source. You have everything within you, beloveds, to make it. And if a being isn't teaching you that, they're not coming from a place of love. They're not coming from the fifth dimension or the sixth dimension, a place of love. They're coming from the fourth dimension and a place of enslavement. So question that. If a being is telling you to depend on things outside of yourself for anything, they're trying to enslave you. Be careful. Watch out. A lot of people that are calling themselves Pleiadians are really reptilians. Now, there are Pleiadians that have evolved to a love level and a fifth dimensional level. So all Pleiadians aren't reptilians. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to check the spirit that you're channeling. I'm speaking to the channeler now, and that person out there that's watching the video that is channeling aliens and thinking they're speaking to aliens that are of a love type of spirit, but really these aliens are filled with control, fear, and hate, and anger, and they don't like you, and they want to control you and enslave you. These are the things that you need to think about. These are the things that you need to think about. So I hope this video helped. There is no outside economic solution that will free you totally. Your only true way to sovereignty and economic freedom is through the spiritual gateway, through the spiritual pathway, through the spiritual portal. That's the way to true freedom. True freedom is spiritual. I'll be doing a video soon on spiritual sovereignty. That's what it's about, spiritual sovereignty. You see, because when you deal with the spiritual, you master all the mundane. The economics and all that is up under the spiritual. So when you master the spiritual, you already understand the mundane. You see, so you have to work with both energies and balance, of course. But again, you have to master both. So you master the spiritual and then you master the mundane. And when you master the spiritual, you learn how to make the mundane act upon your command. That's the sign of a true master. A true master can make the physical and the flesh act upon his command or her command. So I'll stop now. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and love.